lived in Spencer County?
Almost 20 years. And I do like the small town because that was instrumental in really all of my books because they're set in small towns. And I just think it makes it, small towns are more intimate in the settings, and I think that's why I love Spencer County so much, the city of Taylorsville. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I love that little story you wrote years ago when we did that writers club. I read that. You remember the guy?
No.
The guy in the apartment, and he was talking, and then all of a sudden it shifted, and it's like, it was like was it like a, I don't know, like a bad guy? Like almost like a demon?
Maybe. I definitely have it somewhere. I don't get rid of my writing ever.
Yeah.
Is that something that you do? Do you ever actually trash writing?
No, if it doesn't work in the story, I keep it in like the story's notes. And then a lot of times I'll go and borrow it or steal it out of there for a new story. Because I cannot stand to press that delete key.
Right.
It tears me up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll save everything. I never trash anything.
How do you keep notes? Like within stories, if you're writing them on paper versus writing them, do you always write them digitally? No,
well, early on, everything was on scratch pads, pieces of paper, but at the last few years, it's been on computer. But I have the Word document for the story, and then I have a Word document for notes, little things I want to put in there, or all of a sudden in the middle of the night, I have one of those. My husband got me an ink pen with a flashlight on the bottom. So you click this button and the little flashlight comes on and you can see what you're writing on the paper. So I'll write little notes down and try to use it. But yeah, I'll just have everything in there and I'll try to remember to use it for the story, or if not, I'll go back and see if I can use something for a new story. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and I do have an Excel spreadsheet that I use, like characters, like how I want the next scene to be. Because that helps me move the story along. Like if I know, like for this there were 3 families.
Right.
So I did a scene by scene. This scene, I want this happen, to this and this to happen. And then it just helps me flesh out the story and make sure I'm not missing a plot, a crucial plot hole, right. Something like that.
I was impressed with this book, how there really weren't any grammar or spelling errors that I saw.
Thank you.
And I have been seeing even like big published books have spelling and grammar errors and like major plot issues. So I was like, who edited this?
Me.
You edited it?
I edited it, yes.
Okay.
And I thank you, because I take pride in that. I will probably 60 times have read through that. Mm-hmm. And I have a method. And I have paid editors in the past, and I'll catch mistakes that I've already paid them to do, and I'll catch mistakes and I've already paid them and they've missed it.
Right.
So I just think as long as I've been doing it, I think I know the grammar pretty well, and so I can easily catch mistakes. I have a secret. I use text to speech in Word, and you can get a man's voice or a woman's voice, Australian accent or English accent, American accent, and so I'll highlight a page and I'll just put my headphones on and close my eyes, so I'm listening to what I've written. Because when you wrote, like if you write, he went to the door and opened it, your brain knows that's what you meant to write. And so when you're reading it, your brain just automatically puts the word "the" in there, even though you've left it out.
Right. So
you're not seeing it. But when you listen to it, you're picking up, oh, wait a minute, that word's missing, So that's one of the ways that helps me to edit.
Do you ever think that like your writing could be better, or that you're missing something without editors? And also, do you have beta readers?
I do have a couple of beta readers. I don't think, for me personally, I don't think I'm missing anything with the editing, because I I guess I don't write mainstream fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what I want it to say. I know how I want it to go. So the answer is no. I don't think I'm missing anything with the professional editing.
Have you seen your books and your writing progress? Because you started writing in these books in 2009, I think. Was that the first published?
Yeah, this one I published it in 2011.
Okay, 2011.
Yeah. Yes, I do think my writing has progressed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would hope. I think it's each one. I think it gets a little bit better.
What would you say to somebody who's trying to get into self-publishing? I
would say, first of all, write your book. Right. Don't try to put the cart before the horse. Just write the book, and put it aside for a while, and let it just let it sit, and then look and see what self-publishing involves, because it can easily be done, but you do have to know what you're doing. There are blogs, and there are websites, and there's YouTube videos, and just do your research, because there's some that are really good on helping you format the book, just helping you go step by step on how to even get it up on Amazon. And then there are other places too that you can also have your book. Like I've got mine, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Amazon, Apple, Tolino, Hoopla, mm-hmm. and wherever you buy your ebook, you can buy mine. So, and that's through Draft to Digital, and they do all these. They are like distributors for the other places too, and you never should have to pay to self-publish, unless you just need help with the formatting or helping you get it on there. Honestly, sometimes you'll get these, fly-by-night emails, and for a small fee, mm-hmm. they'll get you published, and they're not doing you any favors.
Right.
You have to be your own advocate, and like I said, just do your research and do what works and feels best for you. But everything I've just learned through the YouTube videos, and there's some helpful blog sites. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How would you classify your genre of writing, or do you not like to think about your writing as a genre? Yeah, I think I would say I write mysteries, and I also write women's fiction. That's how I would classify them. What classifies as women's fiction that makes that different from regular fiction? It would be the story. It's more of a woman's journey. Maybe to see her come out on the other side of something that's been fairly tragic. And I kind of like to say it's just stories that probably more women would enjoy than a man. Okay. Okay. So you're right. So it's books about women written for women. Yes. Okay. Yeah. For my first one, after all is said and done, it is about adultery, and a child comes of it, and what for 2 years I followed these two couples in the book, just on the ramifications of adultery and how that impacts all four of them. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's mainly geared more towards women, just because of the way it's written. Right. Did your husband have an issue being on the cover of a book about adultery? No, he was a champ about it. He was really nice, and he is probably my number one fan, and he's the only one that gets to read the books in their infancy stages. And he also lets me talk about my characters when I'm writing a story as if they're just an extended part of our dysfunctional family. And he just does it without rolling his eyes. Speaking of characters, this book was really interesting to me because I'd never read, I guess, a narrator like is in this book. This book's narrated from the perspective of the house on the cliff. Yes. How did you come up with that? Well, you go driving down a road and you see these old houses, old mansions. And one day I was just driving, and I looked at this house, and it was just old, but it was beautiful, and I thought, I bet if that house could talk, I bet it would have so many stories to tell. And that's kind of what started the wheels turning on this book. And I thought, I'm just going to write this only from the house's point of view. And so it's, 3 different families over about 75 years. And it took me a while to write it because it's very difficult when you are confined in a setting to just inside the walls of a house, to be able to do that and just to keep it fresh and interesting. It took me a while.
Yeah, I bet.
I started it at the beginning of COVID and finished it well after COVID.
So how many years was that?
I started writing it in 2020, February 2020, and it published October 1st of 2024. Yeah.
What's the average amount of time it takes for you to write a book?
I would say probably 2 to 3 years.
Okay, so this one was a little longer.
This was a little longer, I think mainly because of COVID, and it was just a more difficult book to write when the character can't really speak.
Right.
He is speaking in the house is speaking in the book, but it can't really carry dialogue in quotes. So it just took me longer, and I wanted to make sure I had it right. And a lot of research went into it, just because it's set in California. There's just certain things. There were time periods, 50s and the 70s. I grew up in the 70s, but I didn't have a clue really about the 50s, so I wanted to make sure I had everything right. That's the main thing, is I wanted to make sure I can spend 3 days researching something for just a paragraph because I want to make sure it's right.
What do you think that over the course of writing your books, what topic do you think you've had to research the most?
The most? Probably, I would say police work, because it's mysteries, and I want to make sure I've got the law in certain states, and even the police codes. In South Dakota, they do signals. We have a signal 11. So I actually found a website where I could listen to South Dakota scanners. Okay. So I could try to write, what's this one, because I want to make sure when the character is given a signal, whatever, that it's the right one. So probably just police things. That's probably the most research I've done, is on police.
Is there anything from your personal life that you've brought in to any of your books? I mean, surely yes, but...
Yeah, I think grief. Grief is a big part of Seasons of Darkness, and a big part in probably all of them. Yeah. Grief touches everyone different, and I just think it's something that we have all experienced in our lives, but it's also something that everybody goes through differently. And I think it's everybody grieves differently, and there's no timetable for it. And I just want people to know that even though it might be your darkest day, the next day is going to be better.
I definitely noticed that with this, is that some of the topics were heavy and dark, and then at the end of, I guess, the section of the anthology, I was kind of thinking about it as an anthology. I'm not sure if that's how you would classify it, but it did end on a hopeful note.
Yes.
So I was grateful for that. But
yeah, I tried. Most of the books end on a positive note. Yeah.
Would you classify this as an anthology, or how do you think of this book?
I would call it a multiple family saga, a little bit, I would say, historical fiction. But yeah, I think it could also be called an anthology.
Who are some writers who have inspired you?
I think the first writer that inspired me was honestly Beverly Cleary.
Okay, yeah.
She was discovered her in probably first or second grade, and I probably read Henry Huggins probably 20 times in elementary school. I just liked the way she wrote, and it was probably the first time I realized more than like a series of books came out about all the little characters on Clickety Clack Street. And it was the first time I realized, hey, you can have more than one book that's about the same characters but with a different storyline. So she would have been my first, and then I grew up reading Danielle Steele, and I really like her novels because they're character-driven fiction, and I would say that's what I write, is character-driven fiction. I think those two, and maybe Jeffrey Deaver for the mysteries.
What's the difference between plot-driven and character-driven?
I think plot-driven it's just moving the plot forward. It's all about what's happening in the story, the central storyline. And character-driven is more about, to me, the characters' emotions, what they're feeling. I like to write about, they have flaws. All my characters are flawed, even the heroes, because even heroes have a chink in their armor, right? And so that makes them human to me. And I just find that fascinating. And I think for a character-driven novel, it's more about the character's growth over the storyline. And yes, it's got a plot or a mystery or a crime to be solved, but it all comes down to their conviction with what's troubling them, and then being able to come out on the other side of it.
Is there anything like you really want to talk about? Like when people ask you about your books, is there something that, nobody's ever asked you, or that you just feel like very passionate about when it comes to your writing?
I think my books are just a little bit different because they do delve into social taboos. Like a lot of people carry silent tragedies around, alcoholism or domestic abuse, mental illness, suicide, and just grief. A lot of people carry the grief in their heart and they never feel like they can talk about it. And so to me, these books have all of these elements in it, and it's just dealt with in a very realistic way. And I think that's a little different than some of the books that I've read.
More of the subtle, kind of like things that people aren't normally talking about in life.
Yes. This one is a boy Ethan was 9 years old, and his mother committed suicide. And so he's trying to just be a part of a family that was never functional to begin with because she had a mental illness. And now he's 16. So it's just something that a lot of people don't talk about. And so I like writing that stuff. I know it sounds silly or weird, but I like what I call drama, and I like tall, dark, and I write about tall, dark, and troubled.
Okay.
That's what I do. Stories from the heart for the heart.
I mean, does it ever affect you when your characters are in intense situations? Yeah, I think this one, I don't think I was in the best mood for a while, because this is a dark book. It comes out, it's hopeful. The young man gets himself turned around, but it can put you in a dark spot, for sure. You're making me want to read it, honestly.
And then sometimes I think my own, as far as being an author, my own inhibitions and self-confidence, I think, gets in the way because I lack it a lot of times. Sometimes I don't feel like it's good enough, and that's probably why it takes me so long to write it, because it has to be perfect. The prose that I write I call it pretty prose. It has to be perfect, and I can probably spend half a day staring at a paragraph, and I'll take out a word or take out a sentence after about 3 hours, and then an hour later I'll put it back in.
Sounds frustrating.
Yeah, it can be. But I just, when I do release the book, I know in my heart that to me, it's perfect, and I've done everything I can to make the book grammatically perfect, and no errors, and just the way I wanted it to be written. And that's another thing for those that are writing and self-publishing. Just write for yourself. Write the way you want to write. Step out of the box, because no one has to have it all the same. That's what makes books great. They can all be different.
Right.
But just write for you.
You can write from the perspective of a house.
That's right. That's right.
Have you ever experienced writer's block and just like kind of stopped writing for a long time, or?
I have, with this book, it was so intense. I haven't written, I've started a new story, but I haven't gotten very far. I don't think I have writer's block. It's just finding the, I guess the enthusiasm to get started in a new one, because those characters are still just kind of floating around in my mind right now. So it's like hard to get rid of them, to be able to start fresh with brand new characters and a brand new plot line. So it does take a while to get the wheels turning again.
So you have like a little bit between books when you're transitioning?
Yeah, I do have a little bit. This was longer than I wanted to. Just things have come up and I haven't really been able to get back into the groove. But I usually try to make myself get started within the next 3 months, but this hasn't happened this time. I'm working on it.
Okay, good. Look forward to it, because we have all of these at the library, so
yes.
We need a seventh one.
Seventh one.
What would you say are your strengths and weaknesses as an author?
Well, my strengths, my husband told me once that he can hear paper crumple on the page. He says, I write in 3D. Mm-hmm. So I like to think that it's 3D writing. My weaknesses is what I talked about, just self-confidence. Okay. Just feeling that my book is good enough. Because, it's going out to all the countries when it goes out. And everybody can see it. It's out there for everyone to read. So that's, it's nerve-wracking, mm-hmm. To think that. I don't have a publisher big publisher to stand behind me and promote it. But that's probably just making sure in my mind that it's good enough and feeling good enough to release the book into the world. That's just why it took so long to write.
I mean, you do like so much of the book yourself, but do you have a writers group in Spencer County?
I don't have any in Kentucky. I do have a couple that we just talk online and through emails, and we'll send each other our books and kind of go over it and give some pointers and things like that. We did have a writers group here, mm-hmm. And then COVID came, so we haven't done anything since. But yeah, I try to, these two writers I've known for probably a decade. And so I feel, if you are lucky to find a couple that you really trust, and they'll tell you the truth, then that's what you can do. And beta readers are great, but you have to find the, ones that'll read it when you need them to read it and get it back to you.
Do you think that it's important that writers have a group of people that they can bounce ideas off of?
Yeah, I do. I'm more of probably a solitaire, except for the two writers I have, but I do think it's important. You need somebody. It's like, hey, like my husband, he'll say, I don't think this would really happen. And I'm like, oh, okay. Or he'll say, that's just not you. Like, oh, okay. So it's nice to hear that and not take offense to it, because I know he's only telling me this so it can be fixed before a reader says it. But I think it's important to have somebody, even if it's just one person, that you can bounce your ideas off of or say, hey, what do you think about this? Does this sound too silly, or does this sound good? It's nice to have.
Was it ever hard for you to take criticism?
Yes. Probably when you get a bad review, they hurt worse than 50 5-star glowing reviews. And why is that? I don't know. But it's hard. It's hard to take criticism because you have poured your heart and soul into it.
Do you mean like criticism from like the internet? Like critics online mainly?
Yes, reviews. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Goodreads and Amazon, they hurt. I don't know why, because like I said, you have so many good ones, but it's the bad ones you remember. So, yeah, it's hard for me to take criticism. And I know not everybody's going to like your book. Mm-hmm. That's what my husband keeps telling me. But for the most part, they're 4 and 5 stars. But when you get that one, I'm thinking, well, you just want to call them up and say, why?
I mean, have you ever taken advice from somebody who left a bad review? Or are you just like, maybe they're so mean that it's like it doesn't even matter?
Yeah, sometimes I'm trying to think if there's any that's helped me. There may have been one that had said something about it was long. And so I was like, well, okay, yeah, that could be, I might see that. But a lot of them just didn't like, there's one that let's just say it doesn't have a happy ending. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of readers were frustrated at the ending. Mm-hmm. But I knew it when I wrote it, that was how it was going to end.
Right.
Yeah, and I wouldn't change it because it set up the next book. And I just, it's just part of life. So, and I had a little bit of foreboding in it. Some readers got it and some readers didn't.
Yeah.
But, I've thrown a book or two across the room in my lifetime too that I didn't like the way it ended.
So how do you deal with that then? Like when you read a bad review, what do you do?
Go home and cry.
Okay. Fair.
I mean, it used to really bother me early on, but not so much now. I just say, well, okay, and I just go with it, and just if it's constructive, I'll take it into consideration and try to make the next book better. If it's not constructive, I just don't think much of it. I'm working on that. Trying to just let it go.
Yeah.
Like Frozen, just let it go.
That is important.
Yes.
Because, if your writing and your books get really big, you are going to have just thousands of critics pouring in. The bigger you get, the more...
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I did just win the Bragg Medallion for mystery for The House on the Cliff. And I was very happy about that. But I don't know how to top that.
Have you won any other contests, or do you enter contests?
No, this was the first time I've entered in a contest. So I was, that kind of made my day. Yeah, this book, I've only entered this book, mm-hmm. and I've entered, I think I entered it in 3, and I've heard back from one that I didn't get it, and then I heard back from the Bragg Medallion that I did get it. Wow. So, yeah.
That's exciting.
Thank you. I'm very happy.
Yeah. Did it lead to anything?
Well, I just learned it a week ago, so not much has happened yet. They're gonna, they sent me some information to get to them, and then when they get everything, they'll put it out there.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
How did you get your book into the library?
Well, I brought it in one day, and Deborah Lawson was so sweet. I think she took pity on me, and she let me put my books in here. That's how I got them in here.
You just asked.
I just asked. Because what's the worst that can happen? They say no.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think you've covered it. You know, they're here at the library. If you like high drama with Tall, Dark, and Troubled, then come check them out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me and putting up with what I feel was quite a flurry of questions very quickly.
No, you're great.
And thank you for bringing your books. And thanks for bringing this book into my life, because I enjoyed it a lot.
Well, thank you.